What's your name?
Paul Banks.
And how old are you, Mr. Banks?
I'm 61 years old. Will be 62 August 2nd. And I'm not rushing my birthdays anymore. There was a while when, especially when you're younger, you can't wait to get 16. I don't know if you guys have been there yet. Just to drive. And then it's to get to 21 so you can have a beer. And then I think life slows down a little bit and you're just living, because I wasn't in a rush much after that. And then I guess as the years go on, you just keep living and living, but you don't really think about age too much. And then until I got near retirement age, and I thought, boy, I can retire, even though I love to work. But so that's how that went.
And where did you grow up?
I grew up in Mount Pleasant, Wayne, Pennsylvania.
Did you like growing up there?
Yes, I did. Growing up in Mount Pleasant, I had a lot of experiences. Good, mostly all good. What I liked about growing up in Mount Pleasant was the community involvement. I loved just the kids in general, the different games we played when we were young. From little simple games, from marbles to playing cards, to enjoying bike rides and sledding, and there wasn't much not to like about Mount Pleasant except that we didn't have a lot of money, and that made life different. It wasn't difficult. I mean, we had bikes and things, but they weren't new bikes. They were just, you know, hand-me-down stuff. So that part, we didn't have money. One way we did raise money, back then we used to collect soda bottles. Like a 12-ounce bottle was worth 2 cents, and a quart bottle was worth a nickel. I'm pretty sure it was a nickel, and we used to just go around. Back then you would find bottles on the side of the road. We would go around and collect them. I think we would rinse them out if we had to, but once we got enough of them, we had a wagon we would take to the Acme in Wayne, and they would collect our bottles and pay us.
Can you tell us a little bit about your education? What schools did you attend and what subjects did you study? What interests you the most of what you studied?
Mm-hmm. Well, I started out at Stratford Elementary School, so elementary school was pretty much basic, you know, you don't know what you're doing. I kind of remember kindergarten, and through the middle of the grades, I don't remember a whole lot about them. 6th grade, of course, I'm getting a little older then, and I remember then, I think I played on the 70 pounds, around the 75-pound Little League football team. Stratford, they were called the Stratford Eagles back then. And so we had a pretty good team. I remember one year we won the championship, and we ended up going to Annapolis, Maryland to play a team, which we lost, but it was a good experience getting away. From there I went to TE Middle School. And TE Middle School, I don't believe I played any sports. But there, I think, I only went 1 year at TE Middle School, and then the second year they built the Valley Forge Middle School. So I spent 8th or 9th grade there. And I enjoyed science and math were my favorite subjects besides gym class. And once I left there, I went to Conestoga High School, and I played junior varsity basketball and varsity basketball. And there, I mean, Conestoga, I didn't know if I really enjoyed it, but I went to school there. And the last year, my senior year, I took up a technical trade. Actually, it was appliance repair at the Northern Chester County Technical School. And so it was enjoyable. I learned a lot of, I was kind of got it like to work on mechanical and electrical things. So I think that was a good influence going to that technical school for me. I don't think it's for everybody, but I enjoyed working with meters and diodes and different kind of stuff that a lot of people find no interest in. And it helped me greatly later when I went into the construction trade. But once I left there, I got in the union, I got in the construction trade, and I went to, after I was in the trade, I took some night courses for refrigeration and air conditioning. And I'm trying to think of the name of the college I went to. But anyway, I got my certificate for refrigeration, and of course in the union that helped me in my trade, which I became a steam fitter, and I worked in a field called pneumatic controls, which were air-driven controls, and well, they're in mostly large buildings, but they're pneumatics, and that's how your heating and cooling works in those large buildings.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a steam fitter. That's what my trade, which includes a lot. It includes mechanical piping, like at refineries, powerhouses, nuke plants. I worked at Limerick and Philadelphia Airport, buildings everywhere. You know, you're on the road a lot. You're traveling. And but I did 40 years in Steam First Local 420, and colleges all over the place. So it was, it covers so much territory, the steam fitter trade, but I did refrigeration, I did air conditioning. Like I said, I did large scale piping in the refineries, out in the cold, out in the heat. And then later I got into the service field. So in the service field, you basically had a company truck. So my main job was in Trenton, New Jersey. So I worked at the Hughes, the Justice Complex, taxation building in New Jersey, DEP, Department of Environmental Protection. So I had a lot of contracts where I would just go on my truck, and you know, if they needed me, they would call me over there, and of course I would do what I do, and large valves and damper motors, and so it was a real interesting field.
Are you still doing that today?
No, I'm retired, and I try not to think about it too much, because the only thing I miss about not working is you still know how to do so much. And you just try to put that at ease and do other things now. But now I'm retired, and now it's a different life altogether. Now I spend time repairing, doing work around the house, working on my cars, and trying to play a little golf. So it's a total different when you retire.
How long have you been retired?
I've been retired for just a little over 2 years now. In the first year, I worked on the outside of my house, redoing my outside of the house. So it didn't seem like much of retirement the first year, but this year is a little better. I mean, I still have plenty of work to do, but now I'm trying to enjoy myself doing other events, other activities.
Do you miss any of the traveling that used to come along with like your old job, like traveling to different places and anything like that?
Well, it's fun. It is fun. I mean, even though I was on the turnpike a lot because I was in Trenton. But yes, I do. What I do miss is going to different job sites, interesting buildings that we did, like New Jersey Aquarium. I worked that job from start to finish. So just to see the start of a building, and next thing you know, they're filling the tanks up with water, and then the fish go in, and seeing the sharks go in, and come back a year later and seeing an operation. I miss that, and I miss some of the people. I mean, you're work different people all the time, so I think it's interesting just being around different people and the different viewpoints. Especially at the Limerick Powerhouse, where there's hundreds of people, mostly men, which is kind of a bad side of it, but people from across the country, and you know, you don't know how they're going to greet you, but some of them surprise you that they're just down to earth people, you know. And so that's the part I miss, dealing with the people.
Are you married?
Yes, I'm married for 31 years, starting next month, April 17th. And my wife's name was Teresa, and I met her, I must have been around 29. So, or I might have been a little, it might have been 27, but yes, we've been married that many years. And we have 2 kids, Justin and Carissa. And Justin's 30 and Carissa's 26. And they're both grown up and out the house now. And Carissa, she went to University of Delaware and she took up fashion merchandising. And my son Justin, he's in the construction field. He's a glazer, and he's happy doing what he's doing. And sometimes he kind of remind me of me, you know. When you're young and in the construction field, when you get to run your first job, you think you're somebody important. But after that, it gets old. So that's pretty much that.
What would you say your favorite part about being married is?
My favorite part about being married, it's almost after you've been married for a long time, you almost have somebody that can read your mind. Sometimes, like I think, I might try to outthink her what we're going to have from dinner, and I might bring home like some meat for a meatloaf, and she'll bring home the same thing. It's just after a while you start thinking together, and some of her attributes rub off on you, and some of yours rub off on her. So after a while, you're just a team. So when there's a problem, you just work things out, and you know, whether or not have to be marital problem, but any kind of problem, 2 heads are better than one. And my wife's pretty intelligent, so that does help. And other than that, we stick together, and you have to give each other a little space. But I enjoy being married.
And what was your favorite part about having kids?
My favorite part about having kids is when they're young. When they're young, they're very controllable. My daughter was pretty easy. She was a good girl, and you know, she liked doing her work, and you know, she always had good grades. So she was pretty easy to handle. Didn't ask for, I mean, you know, she has some of my bad points, like she likes fancy clothes like I do, so that's the only bad part that rubbed off on me onto her. My son, he was kind of like me when he got to be a teenager. He got to be a little wild. So I think it's important for boys to have a dad, because boys can be very trying, you know. But as he grew older, he grew out of all that and became, you know, a nice young man now. So very happy with them both now.
Do you have any grandchildren?
Nope, no grandchildren, and don't see any on the way yet.
Not yet.
No.
And what was your reason for eventually leaving Mount Pleasant?
I guess I could have stayed in Mount Pleasant. But as I got older and I became a steam fitter, I started thinking, you know, it's about time to get my own place. Even though my mother wasn't really ready for me to leave, even though I was 24, 25, she was happy with me at home because I always was a worker, so she could depend on me to do things. And but I decided to go to King of Prussia. I found a nice apartment there, Valley View. And so it was good living on my own, even though I lost some weight the first year. Running around and doing all things that young men like to do. But that's just, it was time to move on from Mount Pleasant.
How long ago did you leave the Mount Pleasant community?
It was about, I would say almost 25 years now, because I've been living here. I've been living in Berwyn. Once I left Mount Pleasant, I went to King of Prussia for about 4 or 5 years, and then I found this house, which I bought from a neighbor that lived across the street, and So she sold me this house. And so it's been about, I would say, at least 25 years since I left Mount Pleasant. But Berwyn became my new home, and I enjoyed living here, which still close to Mount Pleasant, so I could always shoot over there and see my friends and you know, play a little basketball if I wanted to.
Do any members of your family still live in Mount Pleasant?
No. I was the last one to leave home. My oldest brother, he went to Lincoln University, and once he graduated from Lincoln, he went to University of Penn and Wharton School of Business, and he got his master's there. So he became an accountant, and he lived in New York for a while, but now he's in Jersey. And my youngest brother, he left Mount Pleasant, and he grew up. He went to Indiana University, and he was in the pharmaceutical business. And so it's been a while since he's been in Mount Pleasant. But we all get together, and my brothers and I still get together. But my youngest brother was in the pharmaceutical field, so, and now he's also living in Jersey.
And would you say that things have changed a lot since you left Mount Pleasant?
Since I left Mount Pleasant, things have changed drastically. It doesn't even look the same. Now they're building new houses. Back when I lived there, it was pretty much houses there. People had houses. I mean, they weren't rich houses, especially compared to what's surrounding, but I mean, nobody went hungry, or, you know, we weren't that poor, but we didn't have like new cars unless we bought them. I mean, I bought them on my own when I got older, but now it's just the development's changing. All the people I knew have moved out, so it's a different look, it's a different feel. The kids don't get together and come up on the playground like they used to. We used to have groups of kids up there playing, and now it's just, you know, 3 or 4. So it's just the change.
Are you still connected with the Mount Pleasant community?
Yes, I'm connected with the First Baptist Church, and other than that, I just go around and I go through Mount Pleasant and see different people.